welcome back to my channel. My name is Velvet Von Stitch. My real name is Gemma, but you can call me Velvet or Velvy or Gem or Gemma. Just call me. Today I wanted to bring a little bit of like real talk. So I wanted to talk about something that I hope will help a lot of people. A lot of people, like so many people watch my videos. I mean, we're over 1,500 subscribers now, so, and if I can even just help one person, then that is all I want, really. So today I am going to be talking about finding confidence, especially in the wake of a relationship breakup, divorce, you know, all those kind of things. So, a little backstory about me. I'm totally just doing this on the fly. I haven't rehearsed or planned what I'm going to say. I just kind of want to talk. So, because it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. And I made, so yeah, a little backstory about me. I was very, very shy growing up. I've always been a chubby kid. I was always a chubby kid. And in school, I was the fat kid. Which, looking back, I really wasn't fat at all. I will put some pictures in as I'm talking just to show you. But yeah, I really wasn't fat at all. Looking back, when I was a teenager, I was probably a UK size 14, maybe. I've always had big hips, and I developed very quickly compared to a lot of girls in my age group. So I developed, you know, breasts quite early on, and I went through puberty quite early, and I always looked a lot older than my years, and it made me self-conscious, and I started sort of trying to hide it. So especially the breasticles, I would hunch over more and more and more, try and make myself look, smaller. And I had a teacher in year three, called Mrs. Jones. She would always tell me to sit up straight. When you're older, you'll end up with like a hunchback. And she wasn't wrong, because my posture is frankly terrible. And I try really hard to work it out now, but years and years and years of slouching have not done me any favours. But I do, like now, I'm sort of telling myself, sit up straight, sit up straight. So yeah, so I always did everything I could to try and diminish myself and make myself disappear. I didn't want to be noticed. I was very much the fat kid who got bullied in school. Boys never liked me. Girls, I had a few female friends, but I kind of like drifted between friend groups. I had like a main group of friends I kind of always go back to, but sometimes we'd end up falling out and I'd have to drift off to like another group. And I never really felt like I sort of fully belonged anywhere. And yeah, I dressed very tomboyish, which, to look at me now, you probably wouldn't believe that, but I did. I dressed like a tomboy. I used to wear those tracksuit bottoms with the poppers up the side, the snaps, and I'd wear like a hoodie all the time or a sweatshirt. I never wore like pretty girly things, and I never had like a boyfriend or anything. And it got to my high school prom, and my mum bought me the ugliest dress ever. I don't have a picture of it because it was just so hideous. It was like, I can't even explain it. It was kind of like boho granny chic. Now I guess it would probably be like all the rage, but it was black. I mean, cheerful. Like, I like black obviously, but I don't always wear black. So yeah, it was black. It had no sleeves, which was a no for me as well, because if you've watched me for any amount of time, you know I don't like my arms. I don't show my arms. This is about as much arm as you'll get, and a 3/4 sleeve. So yeah, so it was that kind of dress, like sleeveless. It had like a high neck, which is not good for me either. And then it was like really long, and it had like a ditzy floral print on the skirt. And it was just frumpy. It was so frumpy, and all the other girls were wearing these really pretty ball gowns, and I was just wearing this frumpy dress from, like, I don't know, catalogue. I can't even remember the name of the catalogue my mum got it from. Like, I bless my mum, she tried her hardest, but it just wasn't. No, it wasn't it. It really wasn't. Um, so I didn't have a date for that. I just kind of hung around in the corner on my own and felt really ugly. And I didn't wear makeup. I didn't know how to wear makeup, and it was just horrible. I started kind of like mimicking the other girls or trying to as best I could. I wanted to wear those like kickers, chunky heeled black shoes, but I grew up in quite a poor family, so we could never afford like name brand things. So my mum would always try and buy me like the cheap version, but it was never the same. And I never really fit in with like the popular kids. Still never had a boyfriend. Um, I I went through the blue eyeshadow trend, the trend of having two little bits of your fringe hanging down and hairspraying them to within an inch of their life, so they were actually like stiff like antenna. Um, and yeah, I in school I overplucked my eyebrows. She says with really thin eyebrows right now, but I massively overplucked my eyebrows. So basically, my eyebrows started about here, and just was that out. Like, what was I doing? What was I doing? Why? And my mum made me have a perm, which was the worst thing ever because like my hair was always just kind of wavy. After having a perm, it became really, really curly. That's what a perm does. But my hair has always been curly ever since, even though I don't perm it anymore. I mean, proper curly. My natural hair is extremely curly. So, yeah. Um, but yeah, so I had a perm. I messed about with hair dye a little bit. I'd sort of dye my hair like my mum would only let me dye it sort of like natural colours. So I'm very dark brunette naturally, but I dye it like a rich mahogany brown or something like that, or like a plum, like a sort of a reddish brown. And I hate those colours on me now because they're kind of warm toned, and I don't do well with like warm tones. I'm very much like a cool tone. I'm a winter. I'm a cool winter. That's my like colour analysis. Um if you believe in that kind of thing. But yeah, those I'm better off with like cool tones, jewel tones, Holiday Inn, say what? I don't know where that came from, sorry, what? Um what? Um anyway. Okay, so fast forward to sort of year 9 or 10, so nearly the end of high school, and my best friend's brother asked me out. And I thought he was like so hot. And I said yes, but then I was really too shy to speak to him or do anything. And then he dumped me for someone else. So yeah, you can really see where the low confidence came from now. Um, Fast forward a bit further to sixth form prom. So this is sort of college age. So 18, 17, 18. And my granddad actually paid for me to have a proper prom dress. And I went to the hairdressers and had my hair done properly, and I had makeup, and I felt beautiful for the first time in my life. I was dressed really feminine. Even though I was still bigger than the other girls, I wasn't by any means, super big or anything, but I was still told that I was fat. But yeah, I loved that, like the feeling of being at prom, and like people were saying, "Oh my god, you look so good." Even teachers were like, "You look really beautiful." I was just like, "Thank you." I felt on top of the world that night, and that was my first ever time of feeling like I actually was pretty, and it was really nice. Then all through, like, after college, then I started work, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me, was starting work. I worked for Safeway, which is a supermarket, and later became Waitrose. I made a really great group of friends. I started going out, and I started dressing more feminine. But I kind of went too far then. I was just very much like, my boobs have to be out all the time, because I didn't wear short skirts or anything because I didn't like my legs either. So I remember one time we went out dressed up in fancy dress, and I was dressed as a nurse, and I had like a nurse's outfit on. It was really short, and I'd psyched myself up to wear it because I never show my legs, especially not like mid thigh. And I psyched myself up to wear it, and I felt really good in it. And this guy said to me, he came up to me in the nightclub we were in. He was like, "The top half of you is like, phew, but the bottom half of you is like," ugh. And that, like, stuff like that sticks with me still to this day. Like, obviously now I know, like, what an idiot. I wouldn't take any notice of anyone who said stuff like that to me. But I was very young and impressionable still. I was in my early 20s. And that is a very, like, formative part of your life still. So yeah, I would try to get attention from guys a lot. I would wear very low cut tops all the time. Like, my cleavage was always out. And, like, this is about as much as I will show these days. I'm not, like, super into, like, massive amounts of cleavage, but my chest was basically all out. Because I wanted guys to notice me. So I'd kind of, like, over sexualize myself, which again is, like, a really terrible way to try and get attention. I mean, you shouldn't have to try and get attention anyway, but, like, when you're young and you feel like male attention or attention from whichever, gender you are trying to attract, you feel like that's a way of validating you. And it really shouldn't be like that. But I didn't know that. So yeah, growing up, I was very sort of like over sexualizing myself with men. Horrible. I didn't have my first kiss until I was 18, and I didn't lose my virginity until I was 21. That's how, like, low in confidence I was and how little interest I had from guys. And, like, I don't think I was unattractive. I just didn't know how to sort of, like, be my best self. Whereas now I feel like I'm being my best self, or at least working towards being my best self. Yeah, so I I dated a couple of guys. Nothing ever, like, lasted more than, like, 6 months. And then when I got to about 22, I met my ex-husband, and we were together for 12 years, married for 4. We got married in 2014. We got divorced in 2018. And so that was a massive chunk of my life, between the age of, like, 22 and 34. I was just with one guy, and my life became so, like, tied to him. I didn't know who I was outside of being, like, a wife and a girlfriend. I was just like, it was just Mike and Gemma, and I was just part of Mike and Gemma. I wasn't just Gemma on my own. And I wasn't dressing very well. My clothing choices were really quite boring. It was just kind of like jeans and a top. Sometimes I'd wear, like, a dress, but it'd be like a maxi dress, or, like, everything was covered. Then our wedding, I wanted to dress 50s style. And because I'd been seeing it, like, on TV and stuff, and I really liked sort of like the rockabilly kind of style. I sort of dabbled a bit before we got married with, like, being alternative, and I felt really cool. I was wearing, like, I started dressing kind of like gothy. I was wearing, like, corsets a lot, and like, pencil skirts, funky coloured tights. I would put, like, different coloured hair, like, extensions in. So I'd have, like, black hair with, like, pink bits in, or purple, and I felt really cool. And that mostly came from meeting my one of my best friends, Jo, because she was very alternative, and she kind of gave me a lot of her old clothes and stuff and helped me kind of develop that style. And yeah, I loved that because I suddenly felt like I had a bit of an identity again. But my husband didn't like it. He didn't really like that. Even though when he met me, I was like that, he didn't really like me dressing that way. And eventually I just kind of stopped and just kind of gave up. You know how sometimes when you get in a relationship, you just kind of become complacent, and then when the other person stops kind of paying compliments or making you feel good about yourself, you just kind of give up, and that's what happened. But yeah, for the wedding, we were already on the rocks when we got married. We shouldn't have got married, really, but we thought it would maybe fix things, like it ever does. We tried loads of things like buying a dog, getting a camper van, getting a new car, buying a house, getting married, all these things that you feel like you're supposed to do. And we thought it would, like, strengthen things, but we just grew further and further apart. We just grew up in different directions. And yeah, on my wedding then, I dressed 50s style, and I felt so beautiful. I felt so beautiful. and we went on our honeymoon to Sorrento and Rome. And I really wanted to dress kind of like 50s style, but I had one dress from Lindy Bop that I've still got actually, even though it doesn't fit me. One dress from Lindy Bop, and I wore it on the plane flying out to Italy. And then when I was in Italy, I just reverted to jeans and top. Jeans and a vest top with like a little cardigan, or a maxi skirt and a vest top and a little cardigan because we can't show the arms, you know. And I did my hair kind of like this. So I will put some pictures in from my honeymoon, but yeah, my hair was kind of like this, which I would call kind of like vintagey, pin-uppy kind of. And I felt pretty, but my clothing choices were not great. So this is why when I go to Italy next year, because if you don't know, I'm planning a trip to Italy with my friend, and we're going on the train. We're going to train from the UK to Florence and back, and I'm going to make myself like a slutty Italian summer wardrobe. It's not going to be that slutty, but I'm going to make like a little capsule wardrobe for Italy. So that will be an upcoming video. But yeah, so I'm determined to look how I want to look when I go to Italy next time. I want to dress to match my personality rather than trying to make myself hide away, like disappear into the background. But yeah, so we got married, things were good for a little while, but then we ended up on the rocks again, and eventually he met someone else and left me, and that was in 2018, 4 years after we got married. And honestly, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, although I didn't feel like it at the time. It was the end of my world when he left. I was absolutely broken. I was very depressed. I started working like 12-hour days just so I didn't have to be at home on my own. And then I would stay up really late at night, just mostly just online doom scrolling. And for a good 2 weeks after he left, I was just so depressed. Do you want to say hello? Come here. Come here. Here it is. The ginger. She never looks at the camera. Look at the camera. Look, your fans. Yeah. Look at her feet. Go on then. Um, yeah, so for 2 weeks after he left me, I was severely depressed. I didn't really know how I was going to be able to carry on. And I just watched Bridesmaids every day for like 2 weeks because it was the only thing that made me laugh. And it, yeah. And then I watched Mamma Mia and I was like, okay, this is no, enough now. No, come on, sort yourself out. And I started to like, get my power back. And I was, at first I was in denial with the divorce, but then I started getting angry and I was like, how dare you treat me this way? And then I was just like, I'm just going to be me again. And I sort of decided to find myself again. So I created an Instagram account to dress kind of like pin up and post pictures like kind of sexy, not nude, but like, sometimes lingerie, sometimes like just sexy outfits, like my velvet dresses and stuff. And I do my hair like vintagey and things. And yeah, I really felt good about myself because I was getting a lot of attention from men. And then I mean, that went on for about a year, I would say. I amassed quite a large following on Instagram. One day, though, I just thought, this attention means absolutely nothing. Like, the easiest thing in the world is to, like, get a man interested. Seriously. They're very, like, basic creatures with basic instincts. And, yeah, show a bit of flesh and most men are there. I know I'm not to everyone's taste because I'm a big girl, but, a lot of guys are not bothered by the fact that I'm a big girl. A lot of guys have that as a fetish, and that's not very nice either, being fetishized. So. But I just thought, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't care what they think of me. My opinion of me matters, not theirs. So, sorry, I'm trying to keep a hiccup in. Yeah, my opinion of me matters, not anyone else's. And I deleted the account and I stopped doing it. And then yeah, after that, I did meet, I started dating someone. That didn't go very well. Um, Basically, whenever we hung out, he would be like my personal trainer and make me do like I said I wanted to lose weight at the time, so he decided to take it upon himself to kind of make me a project, and that's how it felt anyway. And I think he was trying to help me, but it just felt to me like he was just trying to change me, even though I was the one who said I wanted to lose weight. But when I was married, he was always pushing me to lose weight, and then I'm in this kind of weird on-off situationship thing, and he was kind of encouraging me to lose weight, and I just was like, that went on for about a year, and I that made me feel really bad about myself. So I'd gone from like here up to here, and now I was like back down here again. So after that, then I had to work on, building my confidence back up. I told him to basically jog on, and I met someone else. And yeah, that again, that was about a 2 year relationship that didn't go very well. He was kind of emotionally avoidant. I still don't really know why we broke up, and I don't think I'm ever going to get an answer on that, but, you know, he kind of just stopped being affectionate with me, and in the end, I just broke up with him. That's like making a very long story short. So I don't know whether it was just that he didn't want a relationship, but he wasn't ready, or whether I'd done something wrong, but we never actually discussed it, so I will never know. So anyway, that 2 year relationship ended. And then after that, I've had to really build my confidence back up again, because that left me feeling horrendous. When the person that is supposed to love you just stops giving you any like cuddles or kisses or anything like that, but they won't tell you why, it's just horrible, because you just think, what have I done? What have I done wrong? And you'll never find out, because they're never going to tell you. And it's just, the best thing I did was just, it was just after Christmas. He said he wanted some space, and I moved out, and he left me kind of alone over Christmas. We didn't really talk. I sent him a Merry Christmas message. He replied. 27th of December, I still didn't know what he wanted to do in terms of us, and I just broke up with him, because I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is what you have to do, okay? You need to take your power back when people are putting you in these situations. You need to be the one to don't wait around for people, Don't wait around for people. If someone's not giving you the right kind of energy, it's not right for you. You won't have to work that hard for the right person. I firmly believe that. And I think that's why I've been single for so long now. So I'm coming up for 6 years, mostly single. I think I had a very brief relationship of like 2 months in that time, and I've dated a couple of people, but that's it. But yeah, 6 years basically single. And I have been doing a lot of work on myself. And that's where this video comes in. Okay, so I want to give you some tips, and I'm sorry that it's taken so long to get to this point, but I kind of wanted to show you where I was and how I got to where I am. But I want to give you some tips that have really helped me become the femme fatale goddess that you see before you right now. I'm not that confident, okay? A lot of it is faking it, but I am a lot more confident than I was. So, yeah. So, things I have done that have made me feel more confident. The first thing I did was quit dieting. Diet culture is toxic. They always. Excuse me. Can you stop it? She's just running up and down the stairs really noisily now. So annoying. Yeah, so quit toxic diet culture. Diets do not work. Okay, if they worked, the diet industry wouldn't be a multi-million-pound industry. People have to diet again and again and again and again. There's very few people who actually diet and can keep it off forever. Like, it just doesn't happen. And there's so many different things that can affect your weight. I am sick of people telling me that I would lose weight if I just ate less and moved more. I have a very healthy diet, and I am still obese. I have hormonal problems. I have PCOS, which has just been renamed actually to show that it is a hormonal disorder, not just cysts on your ovaries, because I don't have cysts on my ovaries, but I have everything else. It affects your insulin and your ability to lose weight. So that affects me. Also, genetics. My dad's side of the family are all really, really big. All of them, and you can't tell me that's not genetic. Like, it's clearly genetic because they're all like that. It's just not, you know. Also, growing up, lifestyle. My mum tried to give us a healthy diet if she could, but we were a low income family. It was things like fish fingers and chips and stuff like that, and stodgy food that filled you up but wasn't expensive. Also, things like, I've my emotions affect how much I eat, and my hormones affect my emotions. So when I'm, that time of the month, I just want to eat everything in sight. But the rest of the time, I'm pretty good. Like, I have a pretty healthy, balanced diet. I had full blood work done at the doctor's not so long ago, and they said everything was perfect. I don't have high cholesterol, not pre-diabetic or anything like that. So you can be healthy and fat. So quitting dieting, quitting trying to shrink myself, and just living my life as I am has made me so much happier and so much more confident. And the more I step away from diet culture, the more confident I am. And I want to represent for big women everywhere, because we shouldn't have to shrink ourselves, okay? In back in historical times, being chunky was seen as a sign of, like, being wealthy. Look at, like, Rubens' paintings. He loved the fuller figure, okay? So, something else. Stop being afraid of the word fat if you are overweight. Stop being afraid of it. It's just a word. It's the same as tall, thin, short. These words, they're just adjectives to describe a body type. And people have turned fat into an offensive word, but it shouldn't be an offensive word. So when people call me fat now, I just say, yeah, and your point is 10 out of 10 for observation. If you take that power away from them to upset you with that word, it just, eventually it stops hurting you and you don't get upset. I don't care anymore when people comment and you're like, you're fat, you're a pig, blah, blah, blah. That says more about them than it does about me. Fat is not a bad word. And if you use it to describe yourself, that is very powerful. I call myself a fat woman. I am a fat woman. It's a fact, Okay, and that leads on to my next point. Stop putting yourself under the weight of other people's opinions. I don't know if I phrased that very, very well, but other people's opinions of you do not matter. The only opinion of you that matters is your own. You are the one living in your body, no one else. So, and you should love your body, because your body does so much for you. It's a beautiful machine, regardless of the size, shape, colour, none of that matters. It keeps you alive, it's a vessel to go through life. So, sorry, I'm gesticulating a lot. But it's a vessel to go through life, and it carries you through life. It's a beautiful thing. If you have children, it carries your children. It's an amazing machine, and you should treat it with respect. And if you let other people's opinions of how you look affect you, you're just doing your body a disservice. It's not fair to your body to let other people dictate how you should feel about your own body. I don't care what people think of me. And I think, for all the people out there who think that I'm ugly, fat, in a bad way, disgusting, there's far more people who don't think that, and who think that I'm beautiful, sexy, curvaceous, like sassy, all those good things about me. I don't care what some balding middle-aged man thinks of me, or some old woman who's jealous because she can't wear the clothes I wear anymore. Stop telling me to wear baggy clothes just because you think that I should. Like, I don't care about these people's opinions. They don't matter to me. I matter to me. nobody else. Life is too short to let their opinions bother you. And let me tell you, people who go out of their way to make other people feel bad about themselves are miserable. That's the only reason they do it. They're miserable. Now, they're either miserable because they're just miserable in general, their lives are terrible, and they feel that by pulling other people down, it makes them feel better, or they're jealous because they wish they could be confident like you, but they can't. The other thing, if you're fat, skinny people feel like they can lord it over you because skinny is like superior. No. And if you tell them that being fat and being skinny is equal, doesn't matter, there's no difference between them, no one's superior to the other, they've got nothing about them that makes them better than anyone else. That's how boring they are, that their body is the only thing that they have that makes them interesting. Honestly, if you believe these things that I'm telling you, is such a shift in your mind. It makes so much difference. So another thing I do, I look at my body all the time in the mirror with no clothes on. It's really important. I look at myself all the time. I know that sounds weird, but a lot of time when you don't like the way you look, you'll avoid your reflection. You won't look in mirrors, you won't look in shop windows, things like that. You'll try and hide everything. Just every day, just when you get up in the morning and you're getting dressed, before you put your clothes on, just stand in front of the mirror, look at your body, look at it from all different angles, turn around, look at yourself from the back, look at your arms, look at your legs, look at all the bits of you that you don't like. The more you look at them, the more you become desensitized to them. So the less you look and you're like, oof, it just becomes normal. You're just like, oh, that's what I look like. It works. It works, I'm telling you. It works. It's like exposure therapy, but for your own body. Brilliant. Another thing that can help, I know this is not for everyone, but this is something I've done, tattoos. I am covering myself in tattoos because I like them, and also because it helps me appreciate my body. I will be a walking piece of art. And then when there's bits of my body that I really, really don't like and I'm struggling to accept, like my arms, for example, you cover them with art, and then suddenly you don't see the arm anymore. You just see the beautiful art that's on the arm, and that helps. So, yeah, that's a little tip. If you're into tattoos, I'm tattooing all the bits of my body that I don't like first, and then it's my legs. You probably know, if you've followed me for any time, I never wore skirts that were shorter than just below the knee. Now I wear like mid-thigh, and it's because my legs are tattooed. Well, one is mostly tattooed, the other one's a bit tattooed, but I want to show them off. I paid a lot of money for those tattoos, so I'm going to show them off. And when people look at me, 9 times out of 10, I'm sure they're looking at the tattoos and not my wobbly legs that I think everyone's looking at, but they're actually not. So, yeah, that's another tip. And my last tip, fake it until you make it. Honestly, just pretend that you're confident. That's what I do. I don't always feel confident, but pretend. And the more you fake it, the more your brain believes it's real, I put all these like sassy pictures up when I finish my sewing projects and that, and I feel like I look really good in them and that, but when I'm posing for the photos, I don't 100% feel confident, but I just try to like put my confident my confident hat on, and I'm just like, look how pretty. I'm rubbish at posing, but like I feel so badass in this. And then the pictures reflect that. They radiate this confidence. You just have to, like, the difference between wearing something and not feeling confident and wearing the same outfit and feeling confident is night and day, honestly. I wonder if I can demonstrate. I need somewhere to put the camera so you can see me like full length. Let's take you over here. Hold on. We're going for a little walk. Not far. Just over here. So, can I put you up here? That doesn't look too sturdy, but... Okay, so you'll see this is how I'll stand if I'm like not feeling very confident. This was like pre-divorce Gemma. You see? And this is me now. Right, okay. I hope you saw the difference there. It was very hard to film that. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Sorry, this is a really long talking video. I hope it helps somebody. I really hope it does, because life is too short to hate yourself and to feel bad about yourself. And I really hope that some of these tips can help you learn to love yourself. It's always a work in progress, but honestly, the difference in me now from before is so massive that I have to tell you these tips because they might help you as well. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you've watched till the end, thank you. And I will be back again soon with another video, probably a sewing video. Please do like, share, subscribe. If you think there's someone else that will like my videos, let them know. Thank you to all my new subscribers, and hi, thank you for being here. And I will be back again soon. And yeah, as always, leave me a comment. I do try to reply to every single comment I get. And take care of yourselves. Goodbye.